The next presentation, Lance is Chief Executive Officer of Great Street Group of Companies and has been involved in Guyana since before many of you were born in trying to provide IT services. And he is also the ICT advisor to the Ministry of Public Telecommunications, so he's involved in IT in a range of ways. He's not a FOSS advocate like I am, only FOSS and so on. As a business, running a business, he has to use a range of tools and it works. So I'm hoping that we will talk about a range of tools. In the title I said using LibreOffice because we had this discussion. LibreOffice is one of the, it's a free, as in free of cost, an open source tool which can be used for productivity, word processing, Excel, etc. And so we had these issues with the cost of, we heard figures like $300 million Guyana has to pay for license fees. So there are these conversations about how do we teach people to use things like LibreOffice, etc. and help with migration. There's a whole range of issues that come up. And Lance had a little project where he had to do, which I don't know if you would talk about. I hope he would. He might decide not to. But he's also going to show off some of his other work, which has nothing to do. This is the nerd in him coming back, not a big advisor policy man, right? So that's ready.
All right.
Thanks.
I'm going to sit because I'm a youngster. I'm going to continue with something that you said a few minutes ago and tell you a couple of stories. In 2015, Microsoft managed to persuade a couple of government agencies to do what they called an evaluation of their ICT infrastructure. And what it was, in essence, was something we call a scrub, where they went through to see all of the licenses that you would have installed on your network. Now, one of the things that you should note is that this scrub not only takes what you are currently using, but any past version of any Microsoft application that you were using. Turns out that by the time they had finished, one agency owed somewhere in the region of 110,000 US, which they paid. Up to now, I don't understand how that happened. But they paid 110. Another agency owed 86,000. Another agency owed around 65,000. And then the largest one of them all owed 510,000 US dollars in license fees.
That's what they're paying on.
Right?
They're going to be your money.
What was even disturbing is that the only reason I heard about this, I was just asked to become the ministerial advisor on ICT. And minding my own business one day, somebody said, well, take a look at this cabinet paper. Minister here is recommending that we pay 510,000 US dollars to Microsoft to rectify the matter of licenses. So I said, well, have you lost your mind? You can't pay that like that for a couple of reasons. One, someone needs to go back in there and do a better evaluation to see exactly what this offense is about. So sent somebody in there and came back, and there were 10 copies of Microsoft Project, and there was 15 copies of Microsoft Visio, and well, Microsoft Office, of course, is another matter. But this is what comprised of the price in terms of that, as I said. So what you had first of all was very poor installation because there are other solutions that you can have. And there's little thoughts and planning. They just go down and order things and they just put this software in. What happens as well is that the donor-funded project, the donor will say that they want the latest and the best software that you have. So when you buy the equipment, it comes in Microsoft almost automatically with no discussion of potentially what alternative that you have. We are at fault to some extent about that because we never argue the point. There isn't enough of us who are in decision-making positions to be able to say that, listen, maybe this costs too much and maybe there's a time to look for other alternatives. We simply cannot afford $500,000. And ladies and gentlemen, if we had to regularize the entire government sector, that is a drop in the bucket in terms of how much money you think you'd have to pay to get that done. You could do some alternative things, so you could use Office 365 online and pay per user and so on and so. But at the end of the day, if you take into account the size of government and the amount of people who would need to access these things, you could see the price is going to happen. The goodly Minister of Finance will not approve that kind of money anyway, so we now at a different point in terms of where do we go from here. And I only relate that to you to give you an idea of one, what the problem is, and two, what the attitude is. Because people only know, anytime you talk about word processing, or you talk about spreadsheets, or you talk about database, you talk about that thing, the next thing out of your mouth is Microsoft Word, Access, Excel. As a matter of fact, Vidya will rate a related story that if he didn't write CXC, when they put in there, nobody might have noticed, but what happened is that for a long time, when CXC is talking about the IT courses and they'd ask you what is, what tools you should use, they actually put in there Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Access. And Vidya and some others wrote them and said, well, surely there are some other things that are out there. And as a result of that advocacy, if you go and look at it now, they speak in general in terms of what it is that you can use. So, in view of that, we still have a situation, unfortunately, where when we go to do government acquisitions or even private acquisitions, the tendency is to go to buy Microsoft products. Nothing is wrong with that if you could afford it. But I argue, and as Vidya will say to you, I run both sides depending on the practicality of the application. I am supposed to be a businessman. So there are times when the acquisition of Microsoft Office may be useful to me, but if I'm looking for cost effect, like for example, in a learning environment, I will never contemplate buying commercial products like Microsoft because it's a learning environment. The idea is that you are learning to do word processing, you're learning to do spreadsheet, or you're learning to do database. So it does not matter what it is that you're doing. The idea is to learn the skills so that whatever tool that you use is to go forward. What triggered, in the Ministry of Public Telecommunications, apart from being an advisor, I created a unit called the Industry and Innovation Unit. And when the budget last year was put forward by the pure IT guys in the room to say, well, you ought to go and spend money in Microsoft, I said, well, why? Well, let's try something else. Let's use LibreOffice. So we took a LibreOffice, and it's open source. You download it, you install it. No cost. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's been tried, proven, tested, it works. And we have been using that, I think, now. Vidya, when I mentioned to you about 3, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, right, that I mentioned, and we used it. And initially, and I should tell you about the staff, because some of the staff, they're accustomed to Word and things like that. So you had some pushback from the secretarial ones and the admin ones who are accustomed, and I know Word, and it was this thing you're bringing in front of me here, and those types of things that you hear. We had a case of habits being a little hard to break and so on. But eventually, they got to a point where they used it. We had to do the configuration in terms of printing and stuff like that, but those were minor matters in terms of the larger scope of things that we had to do. So we're happily writing reports, we're happily doing spreadsheets, and we're doing all that work and producing all this work within that division using open source. And again, this is an example of some of the things that you guys have to do. I mean, this must be a gap in this room. If you are in leadership and responsibility, but then walk the walk. You can't afford to spend money on work. We can't afford it. We shouldn't be, if we're a rich country and do this. Look, the government of Brazil some years ago told Microsoft, and again, it's not that they're open source disciples, but the government of Brazil, they decided one day that, look, this thing costs too much money. Told Microsoft, we ain't using this anymore. We're going straight to open source. Now, you're going to cause a problem because Brazil is 200 million people. And when the government of Brazil says to you that they are not using your product, then you got to sit down and think of what you're doing. Caved in at the end of the day and sold these licenses for $1 each. So that was using open source for leverage. But at the end of the day, as the years went by, they looked back and said, well, no, Let's go fully to open source. So if you look at quite a few of the states in Brazil, you will find that a lot of them have adopted open source just because of no maintenance costs, no annual license fees, no things like that, and they're going ahead and doing the work that they need to do. As a business person, one of the beauties about ICT is the lowest cost of investment as opposed to manufacturing or opening stores or whatever. And that is in no small measure to the fact that you have open source tools available for you to start. So therefore you can start in your home and get right and become a millionaire, so but your startup cost is less. So I mean, when I talk to you about the benefits of open source, I'm talking from the practicality perspective, I'm talking from the business perspective in terms of low cost of ownership, low cost of startup. So therefore the money that you make and the money that you spend is in your craft as opposed to the tools. Now again, we use Visual Studio and stuff for our work, but we work on economic models for that to serve our purpose. But we are quite aware of the fact that if we are starting new work, sometimes we look at other products, PHP, Java, what have you, primarily because of the fact that this particular project, it doesn't make sense to cost something like Visual Studio. The profit is yours, you go in, you use open source, and then from there you work with a different financial model. So you don't have the upfront strain in terms of the cost. So those are some of the things and those are some of the benefits. How much time am I going to have?
3 more minutes. 3 more minutes.
Oh, that's 3 more minutes? So then I'm going to wax in as well, make sure. So,
give it to you because of your age and
thank you very much for your kind consideration. Any
your
coffee or
permission
juice?
of the people here getting on board.
Right. So along those lines and that thinking, we decided in 2006, because we're a pure software development company, and one of the things that we decided to do was, because we saw some trends that we didn't particularly care for, we decided to diversify our offerings. And one of the things that we decided to look at is, we got a bright idea one day, had no idea the market where they had traction, but we thought maybe Guyana, because of its peculiarities, distance, size, shortage of teachers in maths, English, and whatever, it might have been a bright idea to look at doing online learning platform. So we did usual evaluation and stuff like that. So we ran into products like Prometheus and Blackboard and eCollege and stuff like that. So we called up and said, well, how do we get this thing started? And so, well, yes, sir, shortly, Blackboard is 25,000 US. At that time, right? eCollege was somewhere around 45,000 US to start. And you haven't loaded a course yet, but you're spending that for the platform. So running around and saying, well, we can't start this activity like that. This is crazy. We got to find something else. And this is when we started looking into other alternatives, talking to Vidya and some other disciples, saying, well, look, let us look at the open source community and see whether we could use something else. And that is how we discovered, and this would have been about 2006, 2007. And this is when we discovered that this product called Moodle, right? And had all the parts you could wish for. It's open, right? Dedicated to open pedagogical learning. And in terms of that, you could write, if you are that bent, you could put pieces in there to suit your own purpose. So we decided to give it a try. We are now in 2017. And using this product over the years, just to give you an example, we have been using this with the Cavian School of Business since 2007. And during this period, we've delivered close to 100 courses over that time. Using and modifying this platform, this is an income earner for us. Right? This is such a nice income earner, so when you got some brock buns and stuff like that, this software developing money income in, this Mr. Man here fills the coffers. Right? This is an example of using a product locally and making a living from it at the end of the day. This has contributed anywhere annually, anywhere from between 10 to 15% of our gross revenues comes out of this. And some years even better, primarily because of the fact that there are more courses. So the contribution to gross revenue is just a function of how many courses that they use. Right? So this is an example of a product that you can use, right? And you can make a living on. And again, if you have the skills over the years, because we have the skills, we have modified this to do the things that we wanted to do. So if we want to do live chats, we put a piece in to do that. If we want to do webinars and things like that, we put pieces in to do that, connecting to popular ones, whether it's Adobe, I forget what you call it, Rizik, or any one of those, big blue button, we integrate it into the system to provide the services. Right? And all of this is open source. Now you give back. Moodle likes you to contribute to their development and advancement, so they are given to you, so you give back to them. So that's the arrangement. You don't need to them. Maybe there's some specific things that you would like them to do. And so this has taken us a long way. We have now gotten even further, and this is our latest project. And what we have done here so far is, these are quizzes for mathematics, English, and science. And what we have put up here is 45,000 questions on this site, which we will offer in some form or fashion as quizzes and things in order in this market and further afield. And again, this is a later version of Moodle. And this is where you build the courses, this is where you build the lessons, this is where you build the interaction, the chat rooms, the forums, everything you could do here. So these are two examples of the things that you can do. Because I'm talking really from the entrepreneurial business perspective now, in terms of looking at these tools to do things that can help you. Whether it is learning, whether it's customer relationship management, there is sugar, there are other products like that that you can use. There are so many things out there now that you could look at as you decide that you're going to start your business. You don't necessarily have to write from scratch all the time. All right? There are products out there that can start you off. You have the programming skill, you can certainly integrate a lot, and then a lot of these, like Moodle and some others, are well documented from a programming perspective. So one of the things that you work on is you could integrate quite easily the things that you want to do once they're properly thought out, and you can add them to things just as these. How much time I got to finish? It looks like I'm done.
But I mean, we got Q&A after.
So this is an example of a scenario. This is an example of the things that you ask yourself and you do this. This is a classic example of a product that you can make serious money with if once you continue to work at it. To give you a number, the price for production minutes in the Caribbean for work that you do good work is $1,500 US per production minute. Right? So if you do 5 minutes and do 10 minutes, you see what we're talking about. All right? So that is the kind of stuff people ain't paying for that, sadly. But at the end of the day, but certainly in the Caribbean, that has been the price, and that is deemed as a competitive price. All right? If you go online one day and look at something called InvestPT, when they offer people to come and open animation facilities in Trinidad, look at the number that they give you. It works out to be the same thing, but that's the kind of stuff that we're trying to do. Right? And teach others, because when we go looking for work, the trouble that we find is when they ask you how much staff you have, I went once. And I only had 5. And I said 5 ain't cut it. You gotta get to about 300. But the fact that you have Blender and things like that, because it's an open source product, it makes training and sharing and knowledge sharing a lot easier because the product is free at the base instance. There ends my lesson. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.